I'm not going to talk about stuff in a scientific way at all. Cause yeah, I'm going to talk primarily from a practical viewpoint, the way we engage with hydrology, water, what we call it, Wally. Okay, Wally in Ngunnawal. So you probably don't know what these pictures are, but that's my grandfather, my father, and me. 3 generations, okay? And this is our country, Ngunnawal country. The boundaries, what do you think they're based on? Waterways. All the rivers that run throughout this part of the area. That size of that tribal boundary is about 17,000 square kilometres.
So the boundary are actually rivers, are they? Or?
Yes, yes. The reason they're rivers, not the boundary is associated with all those rivers is because rivers are our pathways. It's the way we navigate it across the landscape. Okay, it was essential. Water's essential to survive, right? Everybody needs water, but water also benefits us in other ways as well because it provides us with food and shelter. Not that we shelter in the water, but there's other products that come from water that we use for shelter. Same for food. Everything that needs water will come to a waterway. Food sources for us. There's also food sources in the water. Primarily that's why we look at things in a more practical way than the way that these guys do, sort of thing, because we're looking at surviving in the landscape. So if we didn't look at it that way, if we just wandered all aimlessly around the place, we'd be searching for water. And that's how it was mentioned that we knew where all the water spots were, because we learnt to manage the landscape. And by doing that, we're also using our heads to remember where those places are, because our way of life meant that we never developed a written language, so we didn't write where things were. We used pictorial and oral to explain things, or more practical things like different landscape as markers. If there wasn't a special landscape mark in the landscape that we could use, there was the use of trees that we used to put a mark on, scar it up high. That could give direction to where we're going to. There's also the use of what we call ring trees. If you don't know what they are, they're actually a tree that's been manually manipulated. So they actually form a ring within the branches. So there's different ones of those. There's used for all different purposes, like for direction, for indicating a burial site, for indicating women's business areas and things like that, or even men's business areas as well. Because our culture is divided into 2 strains, and that is women's business and men's business. And I know nothing about women's business. Not allowed to. Okay, so I can't talk about that. But the men's business stuff, there's stuff that my dad's sort of shown me all about. He did that with me from a young age. We grew up in a little place called Jurawa, very rural, and that's where I learned my practical side about how to survive on the land. My dad also taught me other things like fire stick management and stuff like that. So that's where my background comes from, sort of thing. Like, because, like I said, we teach everybody from a young age. It's all oral, except for the painting or whatever. Yeah.
I've been reading about some discoveries archaeologists are making and people that examine Aboriginal stories, and they find they're accurate back to 15,000 years. Descriptions of volcanic eruptions and meteorites, wolf tree is a good one, and they've just discovered a big volcanic site in North Queensland, which the Aborigines describe. How on an oral way, how can it be so accurate? When you do 250 generations or something?
It's because we never tell the story differently. You might put your own words into it, but that same story gets told over and over and over. And that's where, like a lot of people find it hard to understand our oral history.
It clearly works.
Yeah, for sure. But it's not that we just talk about stuff. We actually practice what we're talking about, because other elders in the tribe, for instance, will teach people about how to make stone tools, for instance. That's something that is learnt over time, which is why as young children we're taught how to do those sort of things, and that's always on a traditional level. The other thing that we have a strong connection with is the country itself, and that's our spiritual connection. These guys will tell you about all the scientific side of stuff, but my spiritual.
But you know it really happened.
Yeah. My spiritual story is that the country is created by our creator being, and our creator being's name is Budjabuya. Okay. And Budjabuya lives in a place called Noongara, and all you guys would probably call it Lake George. Okay. But Budjabuya still lives out there. You got that big long escarpment that runs down the highway as you're going down or going up to Sydney. He is resting up against that. He's created that escarpment. But one day when he woke up and he was feeling rested and happy and looked up to see nice blue sky, sunshine, he felt really happy. So what did he start doing? As a serpent, he starts rolling around, didn't he? Rolling around. He's made Lake George, Noongara. 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 Noongara.
Where's Wirral come from?
Sorry?
Where's Wirral come from?
It's probably a Wiradjuri word.
Okay.
It's not Noongar language.
So Noongara.
Yeah. Which means flat water. Okay, that's so Budjabuya has made Noongara, that big flat area called Lake George. You got that escarpment on this side, and then you've got the hills where the Capital Wind Farm is on the other side. But then Budjabuya sort of said, all right, finish rolling around here, I'm feeling good. So what's he do? He goes for a wander. Goes down through past Bungadore down that way, and he's come up this way, and he's made. What's he doing while he's travelling? Making waterways, isn't he? Along the Queanbeyan River and all those places, right up through here. How do we know he's made those things? How do rivers travel?
Down.
In a straight line?
No.
Yeah, like this. So that's sort of the way that our belief is that Noongara was made by Budjabuya, the waterways were made by Budjabuya, And all these, even, you know, like Mount Majura, Mount Ainslie, as he's coming up here, he stopped over there, and he's made a turn to the right, travel out west to see what was out that way. And when he's done that, he's moved those hills, and you've got, you know, Black Mountain on the other side. He's created those hills because when you look at it, it's pushed up, isn't it? And again, he got out a certain distance, and he decided, oh, it's getting a bit hot out this way, isn't it? You know, so he turned around, he's come back, and he's gone over towards the Brindis. And he's hit up against the Brindis, and he said, looks up, oh, I'm not going to travel over that big hill. So he's decided he'd wander up and down either side of it. And he's gone down that way, made the Murrumbidgee, gone down and he's connected up. You got the Numaralla and all those other rivers around the place as well from his wanderings. So he's had enough, after a while he's had enough of travelling around, so he comes back, follows where he's been, he goes back out to Noongara, and he's out there resting again today. Now there's no water in that place. Do you know why? Because Budjabuya's not happy. He doesn't like what's happening on the land. It's our belief that, we've had my people over you know, thousands of years. We've gone out there and we've had ceremony up on the escarpment. There's scientific evidence that we've actually done that out there. We've done archaeological surveys, and we've found occupation sites where they've sat and made stone tools. There's ceremonial grounds there as well, and we've gone out there where we're trying to make Budjabula happy. So you'll bring back the water. You know, I remember going out there with my dad when I was just a young kid, and that place was just full of water. Budjabuya was happy. But when he's not happy, it dries up. And basically that's what's happened in this day and age. And my people realised that. Every time that Budjabuya was unhappy, the waters would go away. So they go out there and have dance and ceremony and try to make Budjabuya happy again. So he'd bring back the water. But he hasn't done that for a while.